Oh boy, that scene in the tunnel was some contrived, awful shit. Just like seriously, one of the stupidest moments that has been in any Supernatural episode. This is so much worse than Breakdown with the actors in their silly monster makeup making silly monster faces. Because this is supposed to be way more serious than that. This is Sam dying. Burns has honestly put some eye roll worthy contrivances in his episodes before, but this just left me unbelieving at what was happening in front of me as I stared at my TV. Maybe he and Sagrisha half-assed this so much because they knew the audience knows that Sam is going to come back to life anyway, so what does this all matter? Of course, that fact totally gutted the moment and everyone's reaction to it of any dramatic tension or pathos, which completely robbed me of a reason to care. Let's break this down a little to describe just how ridiculous and flat out dumb this was. Castiel and Gabriel could have easily saved Sam. Gabriel isn't at full power, true, but you think he's at least 3 times stronger than the average human. And of course, Castiel is at full power. Cass and Gabe were not rushed by a mob of monsters that tragically kept them away from the boys. Neither were they that long of a distance from them. They were maybe 20 feet away, 50 at the absolute most. So it's not like they had to run towards Sam, but they just couldn't make it in time. But then again, Gabriel's wings work anyway. He could have just grabbed Sam, teleported him to Cass so Cass could watch over Sam and maybe heal him, and then Gabe could have taken Sam's place in the fight and helped Dean defeat the vampires. This was just lazy ass, dumbass writing. It kind of blows my mind that some people in the fandom are so quick to kiss Burns' ass but burned poor Jenny Klein over and over again. Of course, she was a mediocre writer, but she never wrote anything this bad. To continue my critique of Burns, this episode starts off with a blatant lift from the first scene of the Angel episode Deep Down, and I knew from that alone that Burns wrote this episode. Plus, the jokes about Gabriel not being less of an archangel are really similar to Spike's lines when he tried and failed to bite Willow. Jesus Christ, man, seriously, get some ideas of your own. He is Cassandra Clare 2.0, I swear to God. Although, if I feel like being nice to Burns, which I do on more than one occasion, there was some great dialogue in this episode. Rowena's line of with their bro hugs, pep talks, and melodrama was really funny. So was all the people I love to torture in the same room. And if it was Burns' idea to use cats in the cradle for Lucifer's bar scene, I have to give him props for that. If I'm going to keep being magnanimous to this episode, I think the acting in the bar scene was great all around. Mark played Lucifer being really truly shocked that Gabriel was still alive super well. I also loved his completely blasé reaction to the team's plan of draining him and then killing him. Lucifer, finally, wasn't just a whiny bitch in this episode like he has been pretty much the whole season. After he raised Sam, which, how the hell did that even happen? I thought that Billy would immediately throw Sam's soul into the empty next time he died, but whatever, I'm being nice right now. Whatever, the scene was great. Lucifer was threatening, scary, and finally in power again. What a wonderful and welcome change. I am past sick of his villain decay. It's been really depressing to watch. Lucifer was also pretty great in his scene with Rowena, and again I bow to Ruth Connell's greatness. The camera holds on her face and she communicates so much without saying any words. And then in her next scene she actually says a lot of words to try and convince herself to run out on the Winchesters and let them deal with their problems, but then decides to stay because the conscience she didn't realize until a little while ago that she had gets to her. I love Rowena. For so long Crowley was my sun and stars. Now she is the moon of my life. Her scenes with Gabriel were also funny. I loved the music cues and the hard cut before they got to it, and Castiel being so embarrassed that he just had to stare at the ground the whole time only made the scene funnier. I have a few more nice things to say, like how Gabriel could possibly redeem himself through an actual purpose besides burying himself in decadence is a really good place to take his character. Helping heaven and the remaining angels any way that he can would be a fitting turn for him because of how much time and effort he's spent running away from it. I suppose I also have to comment on Gabriel landing face first into Castiel's man area. It was a funny moment for sure, and I think Dean's reaction adds to that without actually having any deeper meaning. My Destiel senses were not tingling from that. So, back to my curmudgeonly, angry, bitchy comments. Does it annoy anyone else that they're still completely ignoring Michael's existence? Why don't they just go to the cage and pick his reportedly crazy ass up? His Grace could open the portal too, and he's likely to be way more compliant than Lucifer. How the hell can Cass just figure out where he is geographically? I'm pretty sure no angel has demonstrated this power before. Of course, I could be wrong, but to me that just smells of the constant, they're just making it up as they go along-ness of the show, as I've pointed out many times at this point. What I enjoyed about this episode was honestly canceled out by that tunnel scene. I understand why it had to happen. It's because the writers needed Lucifer to get into the camp with Jack and the others, but that also is what makes it worse. A good writer has the skills to beguile their audience so much that we don't see the puppet strings pulling the characters into place to take the story where the writer needs it to go. When a writer doesn't cast the spell right, we see that what we're watching is in fact just a story with none of the magic to pull us on the journey with the characters. On that sad note, sayonara and auf Wiedersehen.